Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome to part 3 of working on my mini bonsai. This is the final part of this 3-part series. Yesterday I worked on this little jade. It had mealybugs on it, so I cleaned it all up, I pruned it, and then I noticed it wasn't draining. Yesterday I sprayed this tree down with soap and water to get rid of any insects, and then when I went to rinse the tree, I noticed that the water was pooling up in the pot and it wasn't draining through the bottom drainage holes. I left the tree and I came back several hours later and it was still full of water. So today I'm going to have to pull it out of this pot and check the drainage to make sure this jade has good drainage so the roots don't rot from sitting water. I'm going to try and get the tree out of the pot. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull it from the top or not. Well, I think it's coming. There. So there's 3 drainage holes in the bottom, and it looks like they're completely clogged. So I'll have to comb out the roots and do a full repotting on this tree. So I'll pull away the drainage screen like that. And then I'll begin to rake out the roots. So here I go, raking out the roots. It looks like the soil is in good shape. There's a base layer of bonsai soil, and then I put sand on top. You can see the sand hasn't migrated down into the soil, it just generally stays on top. The roots are very wet because there's been no drainage in this pot. And that may be one of the reasons the health of this tree has declined a bit, because it wasn't draining at all. Okay, I'll throw this soil on the compost heap and clean off the roots. Alright, I'll try and clean all the soil off the roots. You can see there's still some soapy water around the roots, which is probably not good for them. I might have to get like a container of water to kind of swish the roots around in to get all that soap out. I've got a coffee cup full of water, rainwater, so I'll just rinse the root system off in there. Next, I have to make sure those drainage holes are clear on the bottom of the pot. You can see the roots, how they've filled up that one drainage hole. I think this one also. It looks like the roots have actually cracked the pot here too. There's that thick root coming out. This pot does have small holes. I don't think it was, there's the other root. I don't think it was designed as a bonsai pot. Okay, so the drainage holes are clear. I'll just clean off the holes here. Make sure my pot is nice and clean on the inside. That's looking good. Okay, so the pot's nice and clean. The roots have been cleaned off. Time to plant the tree. Alright, I'll put my drainage screen in the bottom of the pot there. Fill it up with a base layer of soil. Maybe that was too much. And then I'll position the tree in the pot. So I'm going to put it right in the middle again. Got to check the height of the tree. That looks pretty good there. So I'll add some more soil around the roots. Like that. And I'll make sure that soil is
around the root system so there's no air pockets. Take that big chunk of reptile bark out there, fur bark. That's good. And now I can add some sand to the top. Because this tree was sitting in water for so long, I'm not going to water the tree at the moment. I'm going to let it recover for a bit. And I think this one I'll have to bring into the plant room and warm it up to get those roots growing once again. Try and save this tree, get it back to good health. Okay, so that's planted now. Hopefully my little jade here is on the way back to good health. So I'll take it away, put it in the plant room for the winter. Here is a look at my jade forest. These are cuttings off of Connor's large jade clump that he bought. These were planted by Matt in this pot, and he gave it to me. And I've been using them as accent plants at shows. They're very nice, very small leaves, and they get a nice color, a reddish tinge to the edge of the leaf. I'm going to do a little bit of pruning to these jades. So again, it's looking very flat on top, so I need to sort of round the overall forest canopy. So I'll prune these trees on the outside here, taking the tips off them, trying to get a little more of a rounded form to this forest. Like that. I'll remove some of these large old leaves here too. Like that. There's one in here I can remove. Where did it go? It's up here. I think that'll do for the pruning. The overall forest is a little more rounded on top. These trees have been pruned up, and I've left this one to grow a little taller. So that can go back in the tray of sand. Next, I'm going to prune up my little grass planting here. Again, just trimming it to a rounded shape. So here I go. Just basically giving it a profile prune. Like that. Going to go a little lower here. Okay, so that is ready to grow for spring. I don't know if you can hear the wind outside, but we've kind of gone to winter weather today. I'll show you a shot outside. Here is a look at the outdoors. So yeah, everything's kind of turned to winter last night. We got not a heavy snow, but just a light snow. My little planting of grass is all pruned up, ready to grow for spring. Next up, I'll be working on this crassula.
This one looks like it's in good health, it's in good shape, there's no insects on it, but I'm going to have to prune away these roots sticking out the bottom of the pot.
All right, let's see how the drainage is on this one too. This is one of Isabella's pots. It's a really nice one. I'm just making sure this drainage hole is clear in the bottom of the pot, that there's no roots clogging it up. No, it looks good. I will test the drainage of it when I go to water it, but I think it's quite good. So next, I'm going to prune the top of the tree. It's getting quite long. I have two options when I prune this tree. I could hard prune it back so there's no leaves, then bring it into the plant room, warm it up, and get it growing again. Or I could just prune it back to like the first set of leaves, making it a little more compact. These branches are getting kind of long without any taper. So I'm thinking I better hard prune it back, warm it up in the plant room, get it growing once again. So I'm going to take it back to here. Back to here. So a general prune to make the tree more compact. Just clean away the old leaves. Give the tree a good inspection, make sure there's no insects. It's looking good. I will give it a light spray with soap and water just to be on the safe side. Let that sit for a little bit, and then I'll rinse it off. Now I'm going to test the drainage, make sure this pot is draining. So it's been a while and I can see the water is still pooled around the edges here. I've been letting the tree sit a while and there's still water pooled up kind of around the edges here. It's not soaking into the soil. It may be because the soil might be dry and it has to rehydrate the soil. I haven't been watering these very much lately, so I'll let it sit. I'll let it soak in. I'm quite sure the drainage hole is clear in the bottom of the pot. So after a few waterings, it seems to be draining really well now. The water flows out the drainage hole in the bottom of the pot. So this can go into the plant room now. My little golem jade here was started from a leaf cutting, and it's growing really well. Eventually it'll raise up and get a trunk here. This is a very tiny planting. The pot is 2 fingers high, and it's doing really well, so that doesn't need any work. Next, I have my little Portulacaria afra. It does need some pruning, and it has roots growing out the drainage hole. So let's get that all tidied up. So I'll prune away the roots. And I'll make sure that drainage hole is clear. seems to be good. All right, it's time to prune up this little tree. So I've got a long branch here. I can prune back like that. I've got two opposite branches here, so I need to decide which of these two I'm going to keep. And that is a good question. Both have good spots of sunlight. There's no branches growing above them. I think because the strong growth is coming off to the right hand side here, I think I will prune this one away totally here. There's my decision. I can prune this top growth back like that. This little shoot can be pruned back. And the one out the back here can also be pruned back like that. I'll take away this old leaf here that's not looking so good. And I think that's got the little tree pruned up. Just taking away that leaf here. Yeah, I think that's looking good. Next up, I have one of Connor's jade cuttings. This was started from a leaf cutting, and you can see how it's grown into a little miniature tree, which is nice. It's been pruned once here and once over here. So this one just shot up a single leader, and this one divided into two. So I'm going to prune back this tall leader here. This should generate a new leaf or a new branch here. I'll take away this big leaf. I'll take away the bottom two larger leaves like that. Take away these lower ones. Getting more of a tree form to the tree. On this one, I'll take away the older leaves here and here and here. And then I'll need to prune these shoots back, so I will prune this one back to here and this one back to here like that. So that's got that little tree pruned up. I'll also have to prune away these roots on the bottom of the pot. And that tree is all done. I find it quite amazing when these jades are grown in little pots and they're pruned, how small the leaves get on them. They look like Portulacaria afras, but they're not. They're full-size jades, but they miniaturize really nicely. Next up, I have this clump of trees, which are either smokebush or privet. And I'm thinking they might be smokebush just by the kind of purplish color on the bottom of the leaves, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to clean it up. So I'm going to start by pruning away these roots on the bottom of the pot here. They're growing out nice. I do really like these large drainage holes that Sophie puts in the bottom of these small pots. They don't get clogged up with roots as easily as the small holes. I do like this tree as a tall tree, so I'm just going to prune back this leader here, making that a little more compact. It had more trunks before, but they've all died off, and these are the only two remaining now. I'm just cleaning up some of the old dead stems here. And I think that'll be it. I like this clump of moss here. It would be an accent plant at a show. Something kind of tall and skinny. So that's all ready to go back in the basement. The only two remaining plants I have are these cuttings I put in this pot. I haven't done any styling. My intention is to give these away. So I'm not going to prune them. I think they are fine just to grow for the winter. I will just prune away the roots on the bottom of the pot. Clean them up a little bit. I think that's good for those trees. Here's a look at all my mini bonsai. So there's 20 trees in here, and they take up about the same space as a medium-sized bonsai. So it's kind of nice having all these different varieties, pruning them up, keeping them miniature. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy these small trees.
My mini bonsai are all cleaned up. They're ready to go inside for the winter. And that's all for today and this series. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.